How much money did I make self-publishing in January? Let's find out. So after an absolutely fantastic Q4 last year, now comes January. And unfortunately with that comes less sales than we've seen over the past few months. But that's okay. In this video, I'm going to share with you my orders and how much money I made on Amazon KDP in January, as well as looking back through the past couple of years to see the growth over time. And that's one way to make the January decline seem a little bit better. So let's get going and see what I got up to in January of this year. So first of all, my goals for the month. I set myself a target to publish 5 books. I wanted to achieve 1,250 book orders. And then the goal was $2,000 in monthly profit. Now, unfortunately, I didn't publish 5 books, but I have adapted to focusing on higher quality books. And so whilst I didn't quite get to 5, I still made some good books in January. But in a positive, I did hit my orders and profit targets. Taking a look at what I got up to in January, I created 4 books and published them on Amazon. One of them was a bold and easy colouring book, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But that's a very popular niche on Amazon at the moment, and so I thought I'd try and create one and see how it performed. And then I created a puzzle book for adults and 2 activity books for kids. Over the last year, I found that the majority of my new books that perform well are more activity and puzzle books over the colouring books. And I think that's generally because colouring books are very, very highly saturated. And so the puzzle and activity books take a little bit more effort to make, and so therefore I find they tend to sell a little bit better. On this YouTube channel, I created 5 videos and got almost 90,000 views, which is amazing. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I produce videos on my results on Amazon KDP, as well as some how-to videos. And I also share tons of things that I've learned along my journey so far. Over on Etsy, I made 1 pre-made book cover, and I've also been making 1 custom book cover as well. So as well as Amazon KDP on YouTube, I'm also chipping away on Etsy as well. But onto what you all want to know, which is how many books did I sell in January? In January, I sold 1,630 books. So as you can see there, the 1st of January, as you'd expect, it's pretty much a holiday day. So not many books were actually delivered on that day. And then towards the middle of the month, I did have a little bit of a dip. Now, there was a lot of kind of political change going on in the US, which I think might have accounted for some of the dip there. But what I was really, really happy to see is that it went back up towards the end of January. Now, even though I'm at a decent level on Amazon KDP, seeing a dip like that was a little bit worrying. But if it happens for you, make sure to try and zoom out and try to not panic too much. In terms of where I sold the books, you can see here that the vast majority of my books are print, and around 2/3 of my books are sold in the United States. The UK is still a good marketplace for me, and I have been selling more books recently in Canada. Other than that, you've just got a few trickling along in the other countries. And just to show you kind of that fall from December, December was an incredible month on Amazon KDP. And if I take a look at my top 10 books on KDP, you can see here that I was getting almost 200 orders a day towards the end of December. And it's gone down to less than around 40 orders a day for my top 10 books in January. So that's a huge decline. I'm selling maybe about 20% of what I was selling in December, but that's natural because of the Q4 boom on Amazon. Now, going into actually how much money I made in January, my income for the month was $3,269. For my Brits out there, that's approximately £2,635. And that graph mirrors the orders. There's that slight dip in the middle of January. But other than that, it's a pretty steady month, and I'm very happy with my results. Now, I don't take all of that home. I've got my ads and expenses, which we'll go into now. So a quick snapshot of what my ads looked like over the month of January. I spent $623 on ads. But as you can see there, my ACOS across all of the countries, this is the data for all of my countries that I run ads on combined. The ACOS is under 19%. And to get that ACOS at that level is absolutely fantastic. That took a lot of time and learning and, trying different strategies, etc. But that ACOS now is pretty much directly profitable for most of my books. And now there's different reasons for running ads, but if you can run at a pretty good ACOS, you're definitely doing something right. Going more in depth into my ad spend, on the USA I spent $309, in the UK £176, in Canada $117, and in Australia just $4. And as you can see there across all of my marketplaces, my ACOS is pretty good. In terms of what that led to, I got 3,037 clicks. Rounding up, spent $624. Got 333 orders through ads, which accounted for $3,249 in terms of the sales. Now that's the amount of money that Amazon would take for the books. So I got a little over $3,000 in sales, but we need to know the ACoS to figure out how much money I'd actually generate from those sales. On average across January, it took me 9.1 clicks to get an order through ads. And the average cost per click was 21 cents, which is really good and nice and low. That means that my estimated cost per sale in January was $1.87. That means that I'm spending around $1.87 in order to get a sale through my ads. So when I'm creating a new book and looking at the royalties, I know that if I'm making, say, $2 in royalties per book, that across all of my books, I'm generally going to be making a slight profit through my ads. However, as I mentioned, I created a bold and easy colouring book and it didn't go how I was hoping. So here's a snapshot of all of my ad campaigns that I ran for that bold and easy colouring book across the USA, the UK and Canada. And you can see that I drove 85 clicks. It cost me $43.81 and I only got 3 orders. Now, seeing as I know my average is around 9 clicks per order, this took me almost 30 clicks per order. So that straight away tells me that either A, my book's not good enough, or B, the niche is too competitive. And not only to mention that, but the cost per click there was very high as well, around 50 cents. So that kind of pushes me away from that bold and easy niche personally. It might be an area for you to look at, but for me, it's an area that I'm going to completely stay away from moving forward. Looking at my profit for the month, I made $3,269 in royalties, had an ad spend of $624. My expenses was just my Midjourney account, which was $36, meaning my take home for January was $2,609. That's approximately £2,100. So whilst I'm coming down from a huge month in December, that can mentally be a little bit difficult to adjust to. Making that amount in January is absolutely fantastic. I thought that maybe I'd hit around $2,000, so to get $2,600 odd is absolutely amazing. Taking a quick look into some of the things that I learned in January, it's gone back up to around October levels in terms of the orders and sales. The conversion rate has unfortunately gone back to normal. In the Q4 period, I was getting a sale every 7.5 clicks, and that's gone back up to around a sale every 9 clicks. So that's just something to be aware of with your ad spend. It might cost you a little bit more to get sales in January. However, as you've seen from my data, my ACoS still remains good across the majority of my campaigns. And as mentioned, for me at least, the bold and easy niche, it's a very hard niche to break into. And I might test a few more books in different smaller areas, but it's very expensive to advertise. And as you've seen, I've spent almost $50, got 3 orders, and that book's going to fail. So all I'll say to you is, if you're creating bold and easy colouring books, be aware that you're going to need to spend a good amount on ads. They're going to be expensive and they might not perform well in the long term. But just to finish on a positive, my sales are up year on year, which I'll come on to in a moment. And as you can see, the growth over time, if we look at the lifetime of my orders on Amazon KDP, I wasn't really doing much in the first couple of years. And then when I started properly in 2022, you can see the gradual growth over time. And if you take out those huge spikes from November and December, you can see a really gradual increase in terms of the sales every month. And that's exactly what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to build over the long term, keep that base level going up, and then hopefully those spikes every Q4 will be bigger as well. And just stripping that back to January over the past few years, you can see here that my orders in blue have pretty much doubled every year. And that's also helped that green line, the profit, almost double every year as well. Moving forward, I don't think it's going to keep doubling. I'm expecting it to be a bit of a bell curve that levels off. But as long as I can keep increasing that year on year, that's what I want to be doing on Amazon KDP. Wrapping up January, this is a huge message to you out there. Don't be disheartened by lesser sales. It's generally what happens to all of us on Amazon KDP. It's part of the journey. And also I'd say try and, turn it into a positive way of thinking, because there's likely to be a huge spike in Q4, just like there was last year. As you can see, more books equals yearly growth. And if you're like me, that's what we're all trying to do, is we're trying to make more books and we're trying to make more money. And hopefully you can see by watching these videos, that's exactly what's happening. You can go back into my old income report videos and you can see me making a few $100s a month. But as I've created more books, done all the niche research, launched them using ads, you can see that year on year, month on month, my income is going up. And so the hope is that that provides you some encouragement as well, that you can do the same thing. However, what I would say is to focus on quality over quantity. That's especially important after you've got a few books out. And so seeing as I'm up to 149 books in total now, I need to be focusing on 2, 3, 4 quality books a month that can generate long-term income for me. If I was on, say, 10 or 20 books, I'd be definitely focusing still on quantity. But my advice to you is in 2025, the quality is more important than ever, just because Amazon KDP is quite saturated. Looking at my goals into February, I'm still trying to pivot my aim into quality, so I'm only going to try and create 3 high quality books. I want to generate 1,500 book sales and get to $2,500 in profit, which would be similar to January for me. So yeah, another fantastic month of self-publishing on Amazon KDP. It'd be great to hear how you're all getting on in January. If you're selling books on Amazon KDP, let us know down in the comments below how you've got on. But that's it for this video. Over the next month, I'm going to be bringing you a ton of tips on Amazon ads. I'm going to be looking at some interesting niches that you could potentially create books in. And of course, at the beginning of February, I'll be back with another one of these income report videos. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.